Welcome to Novel Pavilion, your destination for captivating Chinese historical romance novels featuring strong, epic heroines, including our original stories. Get ready for tales of love, power, and triumph. I am the only legitimate daughter of the richest Jiang family in the Xia kingdom. I came to the capital for this selection with a generous dowry, and everyone said I was the unquestionable choice for crown princess. But on the eve of the selection, I slashed my own face instead. In my previous life, I was conferred the title of crown princess. On our wedding night, the crown prince grabbed my neck, his tone cold. If it weren't for your Jiang family threatening me with your salt and iron profits, how would I ever marry the daughter of a merchant like you? And how could Roer have fallen into despair and left me? After he ascended the throne, I became the jealous and disgraced abandoned consort locked in the cold palace, while the Jiang family was branded traitors conspiring with the enemy, and the whole clan was executed. On the day the Jiang bloodline was cut off, the broken spear of my childhood sweetheart, Lu Sanjuan, was sent back from the northern border, its tip still stained with the blood of the Shirong people. Reborn back to the time of the selection, with a disfigured face I announced in public, "Crown Princess, let Miss Jiang have it." I touched the veil on my face, looked at the group of girls in Qianghua courtyard, and lowered my eyes with a cold laugh. In my previous life, the emperor wanted to seize the Jiang family's wealth, while the other princes wanted to use it to climb to the throne. Crown Prince Ji Linyuan also wanted to use the Jiang family's wealth and connections to secure his position and smoothly ascend the throne. From the moment the emperor issued his decree, I and the entire Jiang family were dragged into the royal struggle. For the sake of protecting myself and the Jiang family, I exhausted my efforts and racked my brains just to stand out among all the chosen girls. I just didn't expect that Ji Linyuan would actually have a hidden darling at the manor, Jiang Yanru, nor did I expect the empress, in order to pave the way for her own niece Ningying, to have her killed on the day of my grand wedding with Ji Linyuan. Even more unexpected was that Ji Linyuan, after ascending the throne, would burn the bridge after crossing it, killing the donkey once the millstone was done. In this lifetime, I ruined my own face to withdraw from the selection and contacted my childhood sweetheart, Lu Sanjuan, in advance, with a small trick. The ever-fearing of losing his love. Ji Linyuan's Jiang Yanru gracefully carried her baggage and entered the palace. At the final round of the talent competition, the girls eager to enter the Eastern Palace began showing off their skills: music, chess, calligraphy, painting, dance. Every performance was brilliant. As the talented woman who had once shaken the capital city years ago, Jiang Yanru unsurprisingly took the lead in every category. First place in the talent competition among the chosen girls, Jiang Yanru of the Jiang family. The sharp voice of the ceremonial eunuch pierced through the noisy courtyard. The whole place erupted in commotion. Countless gazes instantly focused on my face. Shock, pity, gloating, interweaving into a net. Jiang Jinyue. She actually ruined her face. What a pity. That stunningly beautiful face. That Jiang Yanru really picked up a heaven-sent bargain. Isn't that the case? A mere criminal's daughter. If it weren't for the crown prince, how could she even be allowed to participate in the selection? I heard she used to be a famously talented woman in the capital city, admired by the crown prince. Now the empress is probably gonna be furious. I lowered my gaze, avoiding those stares, and fixed my eyes only on the high platform. Ji Linyuan, dressed in the bright yellow everyday attire of the crown prince, quickly glanced at me after hearing the result, a flash of regret in his eyes, but right after, his eyes filled with barely contained joy. Ji Linyuan stepped forward in a few strides, tightly grabbing Jiang Yan's soft, boneless hand. His voice was clear and confident. "Father, mother, Roer is the one I care about most. Now she's also earned the top spot with her talent. I ask father and mother to grant your favor. Let Jiang Yan be made my crown princess." The emperor's face stayed calm, though a flicker of displeasure quickly passed through his eyes. I couldn't help but clutch my handkerchief. Even though I decisively ruined my own face, the emperor still used the excuse of treating me to summon me into the palace. If I hadn't reacted fast and taken the secret medicine that caused sores to break out all over me, the emperor wouldn't have let me go. They're damn terrifying. The empress sat upright on the phoenix throne, her well-maintained face barely holding a smile. She glared at her niece Ningying, whose face was full of unwillingness. Then her gaze briefly swept over me with a complicated expression, as if she wanted to say something but stopped herself. After a long silence, the empress slightly leaned forward, her tone carrying an almost imperceptible hint of advice. "Yuan'er, now that you have the one you love as crown princess, your mother is happy for you." However, the empress paused, her gaze pointedly sweeping over me and Ninging again. The Eastern Palace is vacant, and heirs are of importance. If there is another suitable young lady, this auspicious day, you may ask His Majesty for permission. It wouldn't be impossible. The meaning of these words could not be clearer. The Crown Prince still has 2 concubine positions, and Ningying's family, the Empress's maternal side, the Protectorate Duke's residence, holds power and influence. As for me, Jiang Jinyue, behind me is the wealth and connections of the richest family in the Summer Kingdom, the Jiang family. I sneered coldly in my heart. The Empress's plan was truly well thought out. The Emperor already feared the Crown Prince, yet she still dared to add weight to his side like this. In this life, I flipped the chessboard over, unwilling to get involved. The Emperor, due to his life and face, could not let me enter the harem, let alone any of the prince's courtyards. Other beauties looked at me and Ninging either with envy or jealousy. I wore a veil, making my expression unreadable. Only my eyes remained calm and undisturbed. Ying's face showed a visible joy, and she would occasionally provokingly glance at Jiang Yanru. Jiang Yanru knew well her identity as the daughter of a traitor and could only tightly hold on to Ji Linyuan. She lowered her eyes to hide the hatred in her gaze. Self-blaming as she said, "It's all my fault. I don't have a generous dowry. I can't bring any help to Yuan. Yuan, you can give the position of crown princess to someone else. I'm afraid I'll drag you down. I don't ask for anything else. As long as I can stay by Yuan's side for a long time, I will be satisfied." What a move of retreating to advance. Sure enough, Ji Linyuan gripped Jiang Yanru's hand tighter and said decisively, "Mother, in this life, I only wish to grow old with Yanru. I don't want any side consort, or any secondary wife. I don't want any of them." His gaze was burning with a kind of self-righteous passion and a decisive desperation. "What I ask for is, one life, one world, one couple." The Emperor snorted coldly, and the Empress, sitting beside him, stopped breathing for a moment, inwardly cursing herself for giving birth to a fool. The Empress gritted her teeth and said, "Bastard, you are the Crown Prince. You must think about expanding the royal family. Do you understand? The Crown Princess position is the same. She must also bear the responsibility of expanding the royal family. She cannot monopolize the Crown Prince." Everyone knew these words were meant for Jiang Yanru to hear. I looked at Jiang Yanru's pale face and smiled meaningfully. I wonder, what would the kind and magnanimous beloved from Ji Linyuan's past life do at this moment? Under everyone's gaze, Jiang Yanru's cheeks slowly turned red. Shy and timid, yet firm, she said, "This humble girl is unwilling to disappoint your highness's feelings. I only wish to live in harmony with your highness as husband and wife, sharing life's joys and sorrows." Hearing this, Ji Linyuan turned his head to gaze at Jiang Yanru, his eyes full of tenderness. The Emperor chuckled, "What a devoted pair. Only now do I realize that Zitong has birthed such a lovesick son." The last trace of hope in the Empress's eyes was completely extinguished, turning into deep disappointment and exhaustion. She closed her eyes and let out a long sigh. "Forget it, Your Majesty. Let the Ministry of Rites choose an auspicious date and draft the edict for the conferment." The Empress's voice carried deep helplessness and regret. After the Emperor and Crown Prince left, Jiang Yanru was surrounded by the other noble ladies, fawned over like stars encircling the moon. A mocking smile tugged at my lips. Let me see how Jiang Yanru, daughter of a criminal minister, plans to help Ji Linyuan ascend the throne smoothly. I only hope their love runs deep, and that they never torment each other. 3 days later, the imperial edict conferring Jiang Yanru as the crown princess was announced to the 6 palaces, spreading throughout the capital city. The spring breeze brushed the face, peach blossoms bloomed brightly, and the invitation to the crown prince's flower viewing banquet flew into the high gates like peach blossoms. After the selection ended, Jiang Yanru still lived in the estate under Ji Linyuan's name. Everyone knew Jiang Yanru's identity as the daughter of a treasonous minister, so they overlooked this irregular aspect. I didn't want to go, but my father Jiang Ziyan said in a deep voice, You still need to pay attention to appearances. Although the salt production method and smelting technique you proposed can reduce costs and increase output, it still needs time. Moreover, the new salt monopoly policy has just come out. It's not the right time to give someone a handle. The Jiang family controls the salt and iron monopoly of the Summer Kingdom, and one move in the court can affect everything. Entering the estate's garden, the view was filled with vibrant colors, but the overwhelming vulgar, golden jade aura couldn't be suppressed. Jiang Yanru wore a bright red palace gown with golden embroidered peonies, her head adorned with a phoenix hairpin made of red gold and jade, and her neck draped in a beaded gemstone necklace, dazzling to the eyes. She sat upright in the main seat. exuding the demeanor of the Eastern Palace's mistress, the Jie Hua from the previous life, who had earned Ji Linyuan's praise for her fresh and elegant appearance, was now left with nothing but eager self-display. You sister. Jiang Yanru's eyes were sharp, and she immediately stood up and walked over, intimately hooking her arm through mine with a surprising amount of force. There was a fake worry on her face. That day at Qianghua Garden, I only glanced from a distance, but I heard them say, it really broke my heart. Quick, let me see the injury. She pretended to reach out to lift my veil, but I slightly turned my head to avoid it. I withdrew my arm, my tone cold and distant. Miss Jiang is in great joy. I haven't congratulated you in person yet. A flash of anger quickly passed through Jiang Yanru's eyes, but it was immediately covered by a thick layer of fake concern. Why call me Miss Jiang? Could it be that you are jealous of me becoming the crown princess? Before I could speak, Ning arrogantly interrupted. Enough. During the selection, Jiang Jinyu was distant from everyone, and so were you. Now you're acting all friendly here. Who are you trying to fool? Oh, could it be that because my aunt intends for the two of us to become the crown prince's concubines, you're jealous? I looked at Jiang Yanru's face, which alternated between green and red, desperately holding back the smile that wanted to rise. Ning did not hold back as she played with the whip in her hand, and none of the palace servants in the manor stepped forward to stop her. Jiang Yanru could only reluctantly pull up a smile. What is Miss Ning saying? Don't judge others by yourself. After speaking, she waved her hand, and the personal maid brought over a rosewood box. I have recently obtained some high-quality pearls from the South Sea and jade contour cream, which is excellent for maintaining beauty and rejuvenating the skin. I want to give it to Jiang Mei. It will surely help her recover to her original state. She opened the box, and the dazzling light of the pearls reflected her eyes, which gleamed with undisguised pride and provocation. I had no intention of engaging with her further, my voice cold. Jiang Miss, your kindness is appreciated, but I understand. However, my appearance is already ruined, and no matter how good the ointment is, it is in vain. Jiang Miss, you keep it for yourself or give it to someone else who needs it more. After speaking, I turned to leave, but was interrupted by Jiang Yanru's exclamation, accompanied by a cracking sound. A low, angry voice came from behind me. Jiang Jinyu, you have some nerve. Ji Linyuan had actually come out of the palace for this viewing banquet that invited women. He walked over with big strides, his gaze first falling on the veil covering my face, as if he could see the scars on my face through it. His eyes filled with disgust, seeing Ji Linyuan approaching and staring at me. Jiang Yanru unwillingly bit her lip and softly said, Ah Yuan, don't blame Jiang Miss. It was my fault for not holding it steady. She didn't do it on purpose. Ji Linyuan looked at Jiang Yanru with a face full of tenderness. He shoved the pearls back into Jiang Yanru's hands. I send you my things. How can they be casually given to others? Especially, he glanced at me, his unfinished words full of disdain. Jiang Yanru nestled into his arms, gently stroking his chest while explaining. Ah Yuan, don't be angry. Miss Zhang's appearance is damaged, and she has some depression in her heart. I wanted to make her feel better. That's why I gave her the jade beauty cream. Ji Linyuan embraced her, his gaze like an ice pick stabbing at me, mocking. Jiang Jinyue, the empress wants to appoint you as my concubine. That's only because of the face of your father, Jiang Ziyan, raising you up. Before, I discussed some business matters with you, but I thought you still had some smart cleverness. Don't let that give you any misguided thoughts. In my heart, there is only Yanru. I suddenly remembered the day in my past life when I was enfeoffed as crown princess. When he tied the jade ornament at my waist, he whispered in my ear, the most precious jade of the Eastern Palace can only be given to Zhang's pearl. Later, after he ascended the throne, he threw the fragments of the jade ornament at my face, disgustedly saying, the daughter of a merchant is lowly and vicious. In my past life, Ji Linyuan looked down on me, looked down on the Jiang family, yet still spoke to me sweetly, using kind words to deceive me and steal the wealth of the Jiang family. In this life, he saw me disfigured and fallen from grace, every word like a knife, not even bothering to keep up the last bit of disguise. Facing his contemptuous gaze, I suddenly gave a light smile, my voice clear enough for the noble ladies eavesdropping nearby to hear. Your Highness, those words are mistaken. Whomever the Empress chooses to favor must have her own reasons and intentions. As for who your Highness holds in your heart, that has nothing to do with a common girl like me. It's just that. I deliberately paused, enjoying the slight change in Ji Linyuan's expression and the way Jiang Yanru suddenly clenched her handkerchief. I'm only curious, if one day your Highness ascends the throne, with all the court officials, salt and iron trade, river transport and grain supplies. Will all that run smoothly just because of your highness so-called one and only in your heart? Or will you still need the service of shrewd men from the marketplace like my father and brothers? I tilted my head slightly, my tone innocent, yet every word struck to the heart. By then, how will Miss Jiang, this so-called one and only, handle herself? After all, Miss Jiang's identity is known throughout the city, barely enough to support the Eastern Palace, let alone become mother of the nation. You, Ji Li Yuan's face turned ashen, his most secret worry laid bare. Jiang Yanru trembled all over, her eyes instantly filling with humiliated tears and hatred toward me. In the silence, I bent my knees and performed a bow. The young lady is unwell, so I shall take my leave. After saying that, I turned and left, leaving behind the dead silence of the garden and the two venomous gazes that followed me. The next day, at the restaurant under the Jiang family's name, as soon as I stepped into the private room, a familiar scent, mixed with the dust of travel and the coldness of pine needles, enveloped me. The dark, colored attire outlined a tall figure with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. Travel, worn yet as steady as a mountain peak. It was my childhood sweetheart, Lu Sanchuan, but those eyes, which always carried a gentle smile, were now swirling with intense pain and the preciousness of something regained. It turned out that the young general who sent me red plums on that snowy night years ago had returned, carrying with him a deep blood feud. Yeah, he spoke, his voice hoarse from the long journey. Lu Sanchuan gently raised his hand to remove the veil from my face. His gaze fell on the scar that almost covered the left side of my face, and his pupils abruptly contracted. A terrifying killing intent surged in his eyes, but he forcibly suppressed it, leaving only a heavy, aching heart. Does it hurt? My nose tinged with sourness, and I gently shook my head. It doesn't compare to the pain of having my heart carved out, nor does it compare to the pain of 1,000 arrows piercing my heart. In his previous life, he volunteered to guard the northern border, not only for me but also to protect the common people. However, he was framed by the shameless Ji Linyuan, backstabbed by the king, and pierced by 10,000 arrows. I rushed into his arms, tears streaming down my face. Lu Sanchuan took a deep breath and held me tightly. I will make them pay with blood for their debts. All right. After calming myself, I gently caressed the dragon, patterned jade pendant hanging from Lu Sanchuan's waist. It was the token of the imperial eldest son lineage of the late emperor. In his previous life, he never revealed his true identity until his death. Now, he has returned and is a dormant dragon. Is everything arranged? He nodded, giving a brief response. The Prince of An knows and fully supports it. The old troops have already secretly made contact, just waiting for the right moment. I also have solid evidence of Ji Li Yuan's hands in Jiangnan. He paused, his gaze sharp as an eagle. At today's viewing banquet at Beeswang, has anyone caused you trouble? I shook my head and briefly mentioned Jiang Yanru's pretentious behavior and Ji Li Yuan's harsh words. Lu Sanchuan's eyes turned cold. A clown. I have already reported your departure from the capital to His Majesty, with the excuse of escorting the salt tax ledger and commercial route map back to Jiangnan. It's perfectly legitimate. Just as he was speaking, Sanchi rushed in hastily. Miss, the crown prince has barged in. We can't stop him. Ji Linyuan stormed into the private room, full of anger. His gaze was sharp, and upon seeing me in an embrace with Lu Sanchuan, his face instantly darkened. Jiang Jinyu, how dare you secretly meet with another man? His tone was mocking, his eyes fixed on Lu Sanchuan with scrutiny and hostility. I looked at him in surprise. Your Highness, the selection has ended. By what identity do you question me now? Ji Linyuan's eyes were filled with unwillingness and regret. Yesterday, when I spoke his worries without hesitation, it was then that he snapped out of his deep affection. Today, after hearing news of me, he rushed here, hoping to win me back, along with the vast wealth behind me. Lu Sanchuan stepped forward calmly, positioning himself between me and Ji Linyuan, with an unyielding posture. I, Lu Sanchuan, a deputy general of the cavalry camp, am here under orders to escort Miss Jiang and return the Jiangnan salt and iron account books, as well as the newly charted trade route maps, to the Jiang family's ancestral home. Your Highness, your actions now may be improper according to the rules. Ji Linyuan sneered, his tone carrying the unique arrogance of the crown prince. How dare I? It's not yet your place, a mere deputy general, to speak on it. You are on imperial orders. How come I have never known about this? Could it be that you are escorting without a command? Lu Sanchuan's expression was calm as he took out a black and gold token from his chest. I have received a secret order from General Dingen, and I can currently hold the position of Deputy Inspector for Salt and Iron Transport in Jiangnan. This mission carries both military and salt administration responsibilities. The Emperor's royal decree is here. Would His Highness like to take a look? His tone was indifferent, yet he brought up the General Dingyan and the Emperor's royal decree. Ji Linyuan choked for a moment, his expression changing. He stared at Lu Sanchuan, then looked at me, his eyes surging with intense resentment and possessiveness. He suddenly softened his tone, looking at me with a gesture of pity and said, Jinue, stay in the capital city. I grant you the position of a concubine, second only to the crown princess in the Eastern Palace. I will never treat you unfairly. I can also look after the Jiang family's trade routes. In my previous life, he did the same thing, using illusory promises to drag the Jiang family into the abyss step by step. I sneered coldly inside, but on the outside, I showed just the right amount of surprise and indifference. Crown Prince, be careful with your words. That day in Chonghua Garden, Your Highness's words, one life, one love, one pair are still fresh in my ears. Everyone in the capital city knows that His Highness and Miss Jiang are mutually in love. Moreover, I have already been betrothed to General Liu, and I cannot go against my parents' wishes. I raised my eyes to look at Ji Linyuan, my tone firm. As the legitimate daughter of the Jiang family, I would rather be the wife of a poor family than a concubine of the powerful. Your Highness's kind intentions, I am unable to accept. Ji Linyuan was struck as if by a thunderbolt, suddenly turning to look at Lu Sanchuan, fire spitting from his eyes. What are you? Do you deserve to marry her? Lu Sanchuan did not even raise an eyebrow, but simply held my hand tightly, our fingers locked together. His palm was warm, with a slight callus, transmitting silent strength and a promise. His voice was steady like a boulder. Whether deserving or not, Your Highness need not worry. Since Your Highness has the leisure to entangle with my fiancé here, you might as well think more about how to suit the crown princess who is about to enter the Eastern Palace. We shall take our leave. After speaking, he no longer paid any attention to the livid Ji Linyuan, taking my hand and leaving the room. The crown prince's grand wedding, the entire city. The night before, the Jiang family's villa was suddenly attacked. In order to prevent Ji Linyuan from going to extremes, we decided to leave the capital while he was too occupied with his wedding to escape. The guards arranged by my father all wore inconspicuous gray clothing, but their eyes were sharp, and they were the most elite dark guards of the Jiang family. Lu Sanchuan also brought some of his subordinates to guard both sides of the carriage. The carriage traveled to the relatively quiet Qinghua Street when sudden commotion erupted ahead. Drums and music filled the sky. Red silk fluttered. It was the Crown Prince's wedding procession. The procession that should have taken the Azure Dragon Avenue had strangely jammed itself on this road where it had no business being. Stop the palanquin. A sharp shout rang out as Ji Linyuan, dressed in a bright red wedding robe, spurred his horse forward and blocked my carriage head on. I stopped my father, who was not fit to appear, lifted the curtain, and questioned, Your Highness, what are you trying to do? Ji Linyuan swung off his horse, ran a few steps to the carriage window, his gaze obsessive. Jinue, I regret it. Don't leave. I let out a mocking laugh. My gaze turned cold and sharp as I looked at him. Yesterday those people failed to abduct me, and today Your Highness wants to drag me away in front of everyone. Hearing that, Ji Linyuan's pupils contracted, and he spoke hastily. No, it wasn't me. His expression gradually twisted. The look in his eyes at me carried an almost insane stubbornness. Come back with me. I was foolish. I regret it. As long as you come back with me, I'll immediately beg Father Emperor to depose Jiang Yanru and make you crown princess. I suddenly raised my hand and pulled off the veil, revealing my scar-covered cheek, and sneered, Your Highness, stop joking. You don't even dare to look directly at the scar on my face. Now you're saying this, it's just because you can't let go of the wealth of my Jiang family. I hit the nail on the head, and Ji Linyuan's eyes flickered, his face turning ashen. Jinue, trust me, I'm not. Before he could finish his sentence, a voice as cold as a freezing spring interrupted him. Your Highness, please show some respect. Lu Sanchuan, dressed in a dark robe with black horses, stood like a barrier in front of the carriage. He wasn't wearing armor at the moment, but that imposing aura from years of battlefield experience made Ji Linyuan's outstretched hand freeze mid-air. Today is Your Highness' joyous day, and the crown princess is still waiting in the palanquin for the auspicious time. Your Highness, what do you intend by entangling with my fiancé here? Lu Sanchuan's voice was not loud, but it clearly overshadowed the noisy drums and music, reaching every onlooker's ears. Are you perhaps trying to imitate those lowly ruffians who forcibly snatch women from the streets? The wedding officials and palace servants were already scared out of their wits, kneeling on the ground, kowtowing like pounding garlic. Your Highness, you absolutely must not. The auspicious time cannot be delayed. His Majesty and Her Majesty are waiting in the palace. Ji Linyuan turned a deaf ear, his eyes fixed on Lu Sanchuan, bloodshot veins spreading in his eyes. Lu Sanchuan, you, a mere warrior, dare to act against your superiors and lay hands on the Crown Prince. Lu Sanchuan sneered. The Crown Prince should behave according to the way of the Crown Prince, not act in such a rebellious and immoral manner in public, forcibly taking a minister's wife. If your Highness insists on acting recklessly, I wouldn't mind turning my horse around at this moment, going with your Highness to the imperial court, and let His Majesty and all the officials judge the reason behind this. Ji Linyuan froze in place upon hearing this, a trace of struggle flashing in his eyes. In the standoff, a sharp and piercing woman's voice suddenly rang out. Ah Yuan. I turned my head and saw Jiang Yanru, dressed in a bright red bridal gown, having lifted her veil herself. Her hairpin was slightly disheveled, with a jade hairpin hanging askew, her face as pale as paper, desperately gripping Ji Linyuan's arm, her nails almost digging into his flesh. What did you just say? You're going to discard me? Make her your concubine. Jiang Yanru's voice trembled slightly. What are we then? Last night you just said. In her panic, she spoke without thinking. The last half-sentence was vague, but the words, last night, were enough to trigger a thunderous shock. I looked at Lu Sanchuan in surprise, and saw him giving an almost imperceptible nod. The onlookers also whispered among themselves, muttering quietly, my God, Crown Princess, last night, before the ceremony was even done, you already, truly shameless, completely disgraced the ancestors. I heard she's the daughter of a criminal. No wonder, the Crown Princess, the future mother of the nation, being this kind of person. It's a total joke. In the future, our Xia kingdom won't be able to hold its head up. Never thought the Crown Prince would be such a lecher. The commoners pointed and whispered, and only then did Jiang Yanru realize she had misspoken. Her face turned pale, her body swaying like she might collapse. No, that's not it. I was talking nonsense. Terrified, she looked toward Ji Linyuan, seeking one last bit of protection. Ji Linyuan's face went from red to green, then from green to black, veins bulging at his temples. Only then did he snap back to his senses, furious at himself for losing it so badly, showing none of a crown prince's bearing. Jiang Yanru had even exposed a scandal in front of everyone, which without a doubt meant trampling both his and the royal family's face into the dirt. Ji Linyuan took a deep breath, forced a smile, and spoke as calmly as he could. It was I, drunk with joy, who just misspoke. I disturbed Miss Jiang. Saying this, he took Jiang Yanru's hand again. Last night I gave Rower the Mandarin, duck jade pendant my mother had given me, promising her that I would never betray her in this life. Jiang Yanru's panic was not fake. The common people were half believing and half doubting Ji Linyuan's explanation. The crowd gradually dispersed, and Ji Linyuan held Jiang Yanru's hand as they walked towards the bridal sedan. In her surprised and shy gaze, Ji Linyuan forcefully pushed her into the sedan. Jiang Yanru stumbled and almost fell. She looked up, staring in disbelief at the heartless Ji Linyuan. Ah Yuan. The sedan curtain fell, cutting off the words she had not finished. I watched this farce, feeling a chill in my heart. The blood of the Jiang family in my past life, the numerous arrow holes in Lu Sanchuan's body, at this moment, received their first echo. I turned my head to look at Lu Sanchuan. He gave a light laugh and explained, last night's incident was designed by the third prince. I just went along with it. The hallucinatory rage-inducing drug you made was originally meant to be given in batches, but the second prince put it all in. But last night, he dared to send someone to abduct you, and today as seen, it's all what he deserves. I nodded. No wonder Ji Linyuan had gone so mad in public today. I raised my lips and smiled at Lu Sanchuan. Let's go home. With the horse galloping faster. Half a month later, Jiangnan, the Jiang family's ancestral home, Yunshui residence. Mother Linshur tightly hugged me, tears streaming down her face. My son, you've suffered so much. She trembled as her fingertip brushed over the scar on my cheek, her heart aching uncontrollably. Yangu, we can't just let this go. Father Jiang Jian's face was as cold as water, and with one slap, he struck the rosewood desk, causing the teacup to rattle. The current emperor and the crown prince are being too oppressive. If he seeks wealth through raising taxes, that would be one thing, but resorting to underhanded tricks. As he spoke, father looked at Lu Sanchuan, his expression softening slightly. This time, thanks to my wise nephew Zhou Xian, I was able to escape with Yuer safely. Lu Sanchuan cupped his hands, his posture respectful. Uncle, you're too kind. It's just my duty. but, he looked at me, and I understood immediately, picking up the conversation to continue. Father, Ji Lin Yuan's previous interception of the carriage, I fear it was not a spur of the moment impulse. He knew I was disfigured, yet still persistently followed me. What he must be after is likely the Jiang family's immense wealth and the connections we have. Contending for the throne is an endless abyss, and other princes have also been probing me. Furthermore, with the use of new technology, Jiang family's profits from salt and iron have only increased, and the imperial family will never let us go. Father's gaze suddenly became incredibly sharp. If that's the case, do you have a plan? Lu Sanyun met his father's gaze without a trace of fear. Aside from Princeton, His Majesty, the Crown Prince, and the other princes are all narrow-minded, mean-spirited, and ungrateful. If such men were to rule, it would be a disaster for all under heaven, and the Jiang family would be the first to suffer. Instead of sitting around waiting to die, better to cut off the firewood at the root. A sharp light burst in father's eyes, and he clapped his hands, laughing loudly. I truly didn't misjudge you. Then, in your view, which log do we pull, and which fire do we feed? Mother spoke upon hearing this. Could it be Princeton? I shook my head. His Highness Princeton is indeed benevolent and wise, with his heart set on the common people, but he has no ambition for the throne. After speaking, I looked toward Lu Sanyun. Meeting our family's gaze, Lu Sanyun removed the dragon-patterned jade pendant from his waist. My real name is Ji Hantian, the late Emperor's Empress's legitimate son. Ji Huijin is my father. Even Jiang Ziyan, who was used to storms and waves, was so shocked that his pupils contracted. He suddenly stood and paced back and forth. The room fell deathly silent, with only the rustling of bamboo leaves outside the window. After a long while, father took a deep breath, slowly sat down, and his eyes held not a trace of doubt. So that's how it is. Good. A hidden dragon in the abyss indeed. This old bag of bones, along with the Jiang clan's 100-year foundation, will be wagered on your highness. The benefits of salt and iron, the convenience of trade routes, all are at your highness's command. Lu Sanchuan. No. From this moment on it should be Ji Hantian. Deeply bowed. Hantian will never disappoint the late master's trust, nor the common people of the world. He looked up at me. Our eyes met, and we shared a smile. Ji Hantian returned to the capital, relying on the Empress Dowager and royal relatives, forcefully claiming his ancestral roots, and our wedding was set for 1 month later. On my birthday, the richest family, the Jiang family, was marrying off their daughter, and she was marrying the late emperor's legitimate grandson, Prince Chen, who had just recognized his ancestral roots not long ago. Although it wasn't stated explicitly, those with a keen sense of smell in Jiangnan and the capital had already noticed the subtle shift in the competition for the throne. On the day of the wedding, the Jiang family's doors were bustling, with congratulatory gifts piling up like mountains. With Prince Chen Ji Hantian marrying, he would be able to step into the court and participate in political discussions. Ji Hantian had been secretly laying plans for a long time, and with the help of Princeton, the two of them coordinated in the court, completely disrupting the competition for the throne. My father, using his vast business network and control over the salt and iron monopoly, subtly supplied wealth and intelligence to Ji Hantian without drawing attention. With the full cooperation of Princeton, Ji Hantian thrived in the court, completing several impressive tasks, and the royal relatives repeatedly praised him. Looking at Crown Prince Ji Linyuan, due to the scandal of losing composure in the middle of Qinghua Street and Jiang Yanru's loss of chastity before marriage, his reputation has plummeted, and his actions have become increasingly hasty and erratic. On this day, Ji Hantian received a secret report, which was sent by an undercover agent in the Eastern Palace. The Crown Prince can no longer bear the pressure and has accepted 2 concubines. Jiang Yanru, consumed by jealousy, is in a constant state of conflict with the 2 concubines. Ji Hantian poured tea for me, his tone calm. Xiao Yu, the daughter of the Marquis of Anil, has a gentle disposition and has been entrusted by the Empress with the authority to manage the internal affairs of the Eastern Palace. Ning Ying, the daughter of the Duke of Hugua, is the Empress's niece, proud and willful, and is greatly favored by the Empress. Jiang Yanru's position as Crown Princess is practically non-existent. I picked up a delicate lotus seed pastry and, hearing this, I chuckled softly. Crown Prince Ji Lin Yuan's vow of one life, one world, one couple has now become the rope that binds him. Jiang Yanru is certainly not the type to quietly stay in a subordinate position, allowing others to manipulate her. A hint of coldness flashed in Ji Hantian's eyes. Naturally not. She argues with Ji Linyuan every day, resenting him for being heartless and unfaithful. Ji Linyuan, exhausted by it, has grown distant from her, especially with the empress pressuring him. After both concubines became pregnant, Jiang Yanru went even more mad and publicly gave them miscarriage medicine. The day before yesterday, the empress sent her to the Jingjiao Huangjue temple, claiming it was to pray for the empress dowager's peace of mind. Huangjue temple. My fingers paused. In my memories from the previous life, that was a place that devoured people without leaving a trace, specifically used to house disgraced concubines and women of the court. Sending Jiang Yanru there was no different from publicly announcing her fall from power. I sneered. She definitely won tea, accept it. Ji Hantian said with a smile. The spies report that the empress intends to depose Jiang Yanru once one of the secondary concubines gives birth to an imperial grandson, using the excuse of childless and overly jealous, and then promote the one who bears the child. I raised my eyes and met his gaze, both of us understanding. The two things Jiang Yanru couldn't tolerate were, first, losing Ji Linyuan's love, and second, losing the position of crown princess that she had fought for with all means. Deposed concubine, promoted secondary concubine, that would drive her completely insane. Husband, add some fuel to the fire. After a fall rain, the temperature dropped. In the heavy rain, Jiang Yanru silently returned from Huangjue temple. There was still some emotional bond. Under Jiang Yanru's pitiful, rain-soaked attack, Ji Linyuan's heart gradually softened. Moreover, since her return, she had been extremely humble and flattering towards Xiaoyu and Ning Ying, so Ji Linyuan and the empress believed her. Reform. One day after paying respects, Jiang Yanru personally presented the child, blessing talisman she had prayed for at Huangjue temple, her gentle smile flawless. You two younger sisters are young and blessed with good fortune. I pray day and night before the Buddha, only hoping you can soon bear children for His Highness. This talisman was consecrated by the master. It's very effective. Once the imperial grandson is born, I will immediately submit a petition to Mother Empress, asking to step down and hand over the position of crown princess. Jiang Yanru gently threw out the position of crown princess like bait, but her eyes were utterly lifeless. Xiaoyu, mild by nature, half believing, half doubting, accepted the so-called talisman. Ning Ying, willful and arrogant, was overjoyed at the words, and after taking the talisman, stuffed it straight into the embroidered pouch at her waist. That night, when Ji Linyuan learned of it and came to the main courtyard, he was moved and embraced Jiang Yanru. Jiang Yanru smiled while serving Ji Linyuan dinner, watching him down the pigeon soup she handed over in one gulp. 2 months later, misfortunes broke out one after another in the Eastern Palace. First, concubine Xiaoyu suffered stabbing abdominal pains and bleeding. The imperial physician diagnosed it as having mistakenly eaten something cold, leaving her unable to bear children. Right after, concubine Ning Ying, not long after visiting Xiaoyu, suddenly miscarried upon returning to the palace. Ning Ying was heartbroken, firmly insisting that Xiaoyu was jealous of her favor and had drugged the tea and snacks again, causing her to become pregnant. Xiaoyu, on the other hand, was in tears, accusing Ning Ying of sending the ginseng soup with something strange in it. The empress was enraged and personally went to the Eastern Palace to take control. The head of the Imperial Medical Institute nervously inspected all the suspicious items, and finally, his gaze fixed on the sun's blessing talisman that Jiang Yanru had brought back. Ji Linyuan entered with a grim expression, sweating profusely. The head of the institute sniffed lightly, then prepared a bowl of medicine and placed the talisman into it. In an instant, the medicine turned pitch black. The head of the institute thudded and kneeled on the ground, his face drained of color. Your Majesty, the talisman has been soaked in safflower and cinnabar, and the fragrance on His Highness is mixed with a large amount of musk and other substances that could easily cause a miscarriage. The head of the institute raised his eyes to glance at Ji Linyuan, whose face had turned black, swallowed, and continued, Your Highness, may I check your pulse? I also need a bit of your fingertip blood. The empress's face changed dramatically, while Ji Linyuan lowered his head without speaking, only extending his hand. A quarter of an hour later, the head of the institute looked at the blood in the bowl gradually turning green and kneeled down again. Your Highness has been drugged. It is the secret medicine of the former dynasty, Yuxingcan, a mild infertility medicine specially developed for men. The only person present who has any connection to the former dynasty is Jiang Yanru. Her great-grandfather was once the prince consort of a princess from the former dynasty. Everyone's gaze shot towards Jiang Yanru, who had been quietly sitting in the corner. Like arrows, the entire hall was dead silent. Jiang Yanru slowly raised her head, no longer holding any gentleness on her face, only a crazed calmness and twisted pleasure. She even softly laughed, and her voice sounded especially creepy in the dead silent hall. It's me. It's all my doing. Xianxia laughed lightly, glanced at the two side consorts who looked pale, and then spoke to the enraged empress and Ji Linyuan at the top of the hall. Ah Yuan once said he wouldn't abandon me, yet he married one side consort after another. And mother, in order to pave the way for Ningning and drug me, since I can't have children, they are not qualified to have them either. Her voice suddenly rose in pitch. But to prevent Ah Yuan from taking another concubine, I directly cut off everything from the source. This way, no one will use children to force me to abdicate, and I will forever be the crown princess. As Xianxia spoke, she suddenly burst into laughter. What Xianxia cannot have, no one else will. Ah Yuan abandoned our vow, then I will make sure you have no descendants. The empress trembled with anger, her vision darkening, and she shouted harshly, poisonous woman, take her down, throw her into the death prison. Xianxia smiled even more recklessly upon hearing this. Ha ha ha, it's too late. Now everyone knows that the crown prince has no heirs. Ji Linyuan, upon hearing this, could no longer contain his explosive rage, his eyes red with fury, and he raised his hand to slap Xianxia hard across the face. Xianxia was knocked to the ground by his slap, blood spilling from the corner of her mouth. Ji Linyuan was like a furious beast, roaring, I will divorce you, I will skin you alive. Xianxia lay on the ground, her hair disheveled, half of her face swollen, and she slowly lifted her head, wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth with her sleeve. Divorce me, too late. She suddenly coughed up a mouthful of black blood, her eyes beginning to lose focus, yet she stared at Ji Linyuan fiercely, her voice like a curse. Ji Linyuan, I, Xianxia, was born as a member of the Ji family, and in death, I will also be a ghost of the Ji family. The crown princess, the memorial tablet, is mine. You can never divorce me. Before her voice fell, her head tilted, breath ceased, but the corner of her mouth still held a smug smile. The hall was dead silent, with only Ji Linyuan's heavy gasps and the empress's suppressed sobs remaining. Xianxia death, Ji Linyuan's heirless situation, sparked another fire in the already boiling court. Due to the fight for the throne, as the crown prince, Ji Linyuan embezzled disaster relief funds and accepted huge bribes. The second prince forcibly conscripted women and turned a blind eye to subordinates who trampled on human lives. The third prince was extravagant and indulgent, recklessly annexing lands. Each and every one of these, with irrefutable evidence, was presented to the emperor by Princeton with the force of a thunderbolt, along with the blood-soaked accusations of hundreds of disaster victims. In the Hall of Diligence, the emperor stared at the pile of evidence like a mountain on the dragon desk. Listening to Princeton's blood-drenched report, his face ashen, he glanced at Ji Hantian, then at the second and third princes kneeling at the bottom of the hall, their faces full of unwillingness, and finally at the disheveled Ji Linyuan. The emperor's inner rage surged out. A group of rebellious sons. Do you still care about the country and the people? Do you still care about the common folk? Especially you, crown prince. You trusted a poisonous woman, harmed your offspring. You are simply. The emperor cursed and cursed, then spat out a mouthful of blood, his face turning pale as he collapsed onto the dragon throne. A day later, 2 imperial edicts were issued from the palace. Crown Prince Ji Linyuan, with his immoral behavior and certain guilt, is to be demoted to a commoner, confined to the ancestral mansion, and will not be allowed to leave unless dead. Second prince and third prince, with their immoral behavior, are both to be demoted to commoners, imprisoned in the royal manor, and will not be allowed to leave unless dead. Half a month later, the emperor passed away. The late emperor's eldest legitimate son, Ji Huijin's son, Prince of Qin Ji Hantian, who was both virtuous and talented, known for his benevolence, was widely praised, and under the hopes of both the court and the people, ascended to the throne. At the coronation ceremony, the new emperor issued an edict to hold the coronation and empress ceremony together. When Ji Hantian was holding my hand to offer sacrifices to the heavens, Ji Linyuan in the ancestral mansion was muttering to himself, my child, my throne, Xianxia, poisonous woman, poisonous woman. Ji Linyuan had already gone mad. When the news was heard, Ji Hantian was in the middle of removing my makeup. He gently kissed my forehead. Yeah, it's all over. I wrapped my arms around his waist and whispered, how about the new era being called Zhaoming? Ji Hantian leaned down, kissed my lips gently, his voice hoarse and choked. Good. The way of heaven is extremely Zhaoming. Do not view it from a distant perspective. The blood and tears, schemes, betrayal, and despair of my past life all vanished in this moment, and the future will be full of light.